Finally, come on in. Good seats still available. Good seats still available.
Awesome.
Okay, perfect.
Let's see what the font is.
Let me just make sure this works. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Marco Muzzi. I'm the Director of Marketing for AcuityAds. You're probably expecting Tal Hayek, our CEO. Unfortunately, Tal didn't fit into the costume. No offense. It was a little tight on him, but it fits me just fine. I'm just kidding. It's more the hard hat. I have a smaller head. So I'm going to be giving a presentation today in Tal's place. We originally put insights about RTB, but we thought, hey, let's make it more fun and interesting. Let's talk about brand safety with RTB. I'm assuming most people in here understand what RTB means, but just a quick show of hands, who does not know what RTB or real-time bidding is? One person? Oh, come on. I know you know. I know you know. Come on. It's bad enough I'm up here sweating in this outfit. So we know what RTB is. Now, you might be wondering why I'm wearing such a ridiculous outfit. And let me just level with you for 2 seconds. It's not that ridiculous. You know, we're at a conference, things get heated, things get crazy. Somebody could poke me in the eye. You know, I'm protected. Somebody tries to steal the Ferrari that we have parked at our booth. I can take that. I can take the hits. You know, I can hold up to it. I've got 3 different pairs of socks on just because you never know what could happen during the course of the day. So I am the epitome of safety. The rubber gloves are just for effect, just in case you're wondering. So, brand safety with RTB. How do I know about brand safety? Who am I? What does it matter? I'm the marketing director. Let me tell you. When I first started with AcuityAds a long time ago, my first job had very little to do with marketing. In fact, most of my time for the first few months was spent helping build our very powerful contextual targeting tool. And the tool does 2 things. The first thing the tool does is allow us to target, better target the content that we run on for our campaigns. So if we're running a running shoe ad, we can run on pages that talk about running shoes and athletic apparel. I'm going to trip over that. It's just, if I fall, somebody save me. It's going to happen. The second piece of that technology is a brand safety component. So we're able to, you know, before we even bid on a page, determine if a page is safe for our campaigns or if it's unsafe for our campaigns. How do we know? How do you do that? So I came to the company with an SEO background. I understood keywords. So for the first 3 to 4 months at Acuity, I surfed the internet looking for inappropriate websites, and I pulled all the negative keywords I can find from those sites and put them into our contextual classification tool. Most days I would sit at the computer looking like this at 9 o'clock in the morning. By about 5 o'clock at night, this is more the expression I had on my face. So I know brand safety on a first-hand level. I've seen the places that brands get stuck and that brands don't like to get stuck. So with that in mind, let's talk about the risk of brand safety with RTB. A lot of people think, hey, you know, if I'm showing up on pornography or violent sites or gambling sites, that's really bad. And you're absolutely right, it's terrible, it's really, really bad. But when it comes to RTB especially, there's also semantic errors that can occur. You know, you can show up on a site that defames your brand or doesn't talk favorably about you, that boosts your competitors. I mean, that's a brand safety failure. You don't want to show up there. Now, there's some cases that may be true, but overall, the risk with RTB is you may end up in a place you don't want to be. Now, that being said, there are tons of providers out there who can help you stay away from those areas. But let's look at some of the fun places brands have ended up over the past couple of years. So here, we see an article talking about copper bracelets. They're bad, it's a myth, it's a hoax. And you see an ad, and the ad is promoting copper bracelets. Well, I hope they didn't spend too much on this page, because that's entirely wasted. It just doesn't make sense. Why would you want to run here? This is one of my favorites. An 11-year-old charged with drunk driving. What do we see on the side? We see an ad for Hooray Beer. If you're Hooray Beer, why are you here? This is not work for you. I don't know why you would spend money here. Now, if anybody in the audience has the phobia of being watched by a duck, I'm sorry. This image may be disturbing for you. I know that if I had it, it would be disturbing for me. But Aflac is totally not getting a customer out of this page. This is not a place they want to be. This is a simple error that can be fixed quite easily. Personal favorite. And not because I've had a few teachers in my lifetime that I wanted to hit with my car, which I'm sure we all have. But if you're Toyota, do you really want your brand associated with somebody being in a car accident or being hit by a car? I don't think so. If I'm marketing for Toyota, I don't want to be there, I'll tell you that. Now, I love the Olive Garden, personal favorite restaurant of mine. I'm Italian, it comes with the thing, it's pasta, you know, whatever. Bada bing, bada boom. 250 people get sick after eating at the Olive Garden. I'm telling you, the last thing I want to do personally is get a free dinner for two at the Olive Garden. I think I'm going to avoid that. I'm probably not going to click on that ad. So you can see that there's some risk associated, you know, RTB, programmatic client. There's some risk. Now, the point is, it's costing you, the advertisers, agencies, and anybody who's investing in RTB, it's costing us money, right? In a recent study put forward by AdSafe and the Winterberry Group, it was found that an estimated $2 billion in digital ad spending is being held back by cautious marketers. That's $2 billion. That's a whole industry right there, just because of poor brand safety. The same study found that marketers are willing to increase their budget by 10 to 20% if we can show them that RTB is actually safer, if you come in with a provider or a technology that can prove better brand safety. Who wouldn't love an extra 10 to 20%? I mean, I know I would. I'll take the 10%. Hell, I'll go for the 22. The last one I found most interesting. The 6% of your impressions are going to run on brand unsafe content. And this was a study put forth by Double Verify. They looked at a bunch of different campaigns over a bunch of different industries, and they found that 6% was the average volume of impressions that ran on brand unsafe content. I mean, 6% is a big number. I mean, what's 6% of, 10,000, 100,000, a million? That's a lot of money. More money than I'd like to see wasted. And when you see a number like this, it's important to understand that, is 0 the right number we're looking for? Well, not necessarily. There's always going to be some risk. But 6%, I mean, let's get serious. We can do better than that, right? So in building this presentation, it was really important for me to put some extra value-added data out there. And I partnered with a company called Integral Ad Science. And what Integral Ad Science offers is a tool that works with RTB platforms to keep brands safe in real time. Acuity has our own tool. It's a powerful tool. We use it all the time. We have lots of success. But I wanted to bring in a third party's data, be more objectionable, and give you a better framework of what's out there. Integral provided us with the semi-annual review that they've done on the RTB space. Now let's look at some of the data from that review. So they looked at traditional buys and RTB. And what they found is that traditional buys are safer, but RTB is not very far behind. We're closing the gap, which is great. Everybody in here is involved. We're doing a good job. The providers of brand safety solutions are doing great. We're closing that gap down. The safest places to run were found to be science, health, and careers-focused websites. No real surprises there. I didn't find anything too shocking. The riskiest places to run were fashion, food, and art websites or content. Now I can get the fashion and I can get the art because sometimes there's risque pictures, maybe there's some violence shown. I didn't really understand the food component, but I understand that based on what I saw early on in my career at Acuity with how people choose to ingest their food and show it online, I understood very quickly why food could be a brand unsafe area to run on. The next piece I found a little more interesting from a strategic perspective. More than 20% of impressions are suspicious of being fraudulent. So we know that click fraud is an issue. It's probably always going to be an issue in our industry. But to see that 20% of a campaign's impressions are suspicious of being fraudulent, and that's, I think, a conservative number, is somewhat troubling for me. I think as a marketer, we need to do better than that. We're also seeing an increase in things like offensive language, hate speech, and alcohol content. So we're not necessarily seeing a decrease in pornography or violence or the traditional brand unsafe areas, but we're seeing a rise in the type of content coming from these core areas. So we need to be aware of this. The next thing that the Integral Ads shared with me was an estimated 20% of ads are colliding with one another. So they refer to this as a process by which a campaign or an advertiser running their campaign with 3, maybe 4 different RTB providers would have their ads dominating an entire page. Now, they don't intend for that to happen, and it's happening. And the way we see it, because we look at RTB as reaching a consumer, is if you've got the 3 different impression opportunities that traditionally come on a page, you're essentially wasting it because you really only needed the one to get in front of that person and make an impression. So 20% of the time, based on integral, this is happening. This is also very troubling. So the question is, how do you stay safe, right? The good news is, in my opinion, it doesn't take a team of superheroes. Although quite personally, I'm an Iron Man fan, so I wouldn't mind if he helped me with my brand safety. I'm just throwing that out there. Essentially, it comes down to avoiding a few key things. You want to avoid blocking exclusively by keywords. And hear me out on this one. There are some keywords that you do not want to come close to running near if they are on a content page. They're offensive. We all know that. But there's some, or a combination of some, that are a little more in the gray area. Like maybe it's not so bad. You have to really be critical of your blocking of the keywords. Again, you don't want to miss out on opportunities. Same thing with domains. Domains, it's really easy to just blacklist a whole domain. And again, let me tell you, there's some that you just need to blacklist, you need to run away from, like you know, nobody's business. But there's some where maybe some of the content isn't so great, but some of the content really is good. And once you want to run on that content, that is favorable. At least I think you would. Ad blocking. So you want to avoid ad blocking, described to me as a process of you bid on an impression, you realize once you've paid for it that, oh my goodness, we're running on a page that is unsafe. So now you're swapping out that ad unit with something different, potentially giving that ad unit up. You want to avoid sliding scale safety. And what I mean by sliding scale is there are some providers who will look at a domain and they'll look at all the pages and they'll rate each one and they'll come up with an overall score for that domain. And they'll say, well, this domain is safe, or this domain is unsafe. Now, what happens if 60% of that domain is safe and 40% is unsafe, and you end up running on the 40% that's not safe? I don't think you're a happy camper. I don't think it's going to work. So what do you do? What do you do? It's simple. You want to look at page level semantic blocking. So we've found that with our tools, it's really, really powerful. If you're working with, if you're an airline, if you're Air Canada, you want to stay away from any type of content that talks about plane crashes, plane malfunctions, the movie Flight, for anybody who's seen it. Anything that talks about problems with flying industry. You want to avoid that. That's brand unsafe content for you. If you're Coca-Cola, you want to avoid pages that talk about, childhood obesity, being linked to soft drinks or any other dietary issues that may come from soft drinks. You want to stay clear of that stuff. The next piece you want to look at, you want to find, is a preemptive solution that is dynamic and uses real-time data and classifies in real time. If you're looking at brand safety in retrospective and you're doing verification reports, you've lost. It's too late. You want to be proactive and you want to make sure your brand is actively being protected in real time. Lastly, you want to partner with a provider who offers a customized solution. So what works for Acuity in terms of our brand safety is going to be different than what works for Nike. It just makes sense. So you want to work with somebody who is not just going to keep you safe from the usual content online that is unsafe. You want to work with somebody who's going to customize a solution for you and make sure that your individual brand is being protected. So you know how to do it, you know what to avoid. How do you choose the right vendor? Well, just like buying a car, you have to look under the hood. Your brand safety should be actionable, customized, and preventative. Your vendor should really be your own personal superhero. I alluded to not needing a team. Well, you don't need a team, but you sure do need somebody there to watch out for your brand's interests in real time. Like I alluded to, if you're doing a verification report after you've run the campaign, you've already lost ground. It's too late. You've got to be proactive. You've got to be preemptive. And that needs to be built in an RTB process to that bidding process, that bidding technology. You want to seek out vendors who provide real-time semantic blocking capabilities, keyword and domain blocking integration, as well as fully transparent reporting. So it's quite a mouthful for me, but breaking it down, real-time. Well, it's real-time bidding. You're going to want real-time brand safety. I think that's a no-brainer. Semantic blocking, we already covered that. You want to know the contextual places where it's safe for you to be and the contextual places where it's unsafe for you to be. You want to steer clear from those negative ones. Keyword and domain blocking and integration is very important. You obviously want to block some domains, you want to block some keywords. But I stress again, you don't want to just exclusively whitelist things, you don't want to exclusively just avoid certain keywords. You want to be sensitive and think through your plan and campaign as to what makes the most sense for you. Fully transparent reporting. I don't think people really appreciate this enough. I know it's a big differentiator for us. Our reports, I know because I spend a lot of time doing them, are so long and so tedious. But the campaigns that we run, the clients we deal with, they love it. They love seeing exactly where they run. They love seeing exactly what time of day works for them, what doesn't work for them. These are the kinds of things you need to look for in a brand safety provider, an RTB provider. You want the full transparency. You want somebody, if you ask for a site list, you're going to get the site list. Not a picture, you want the full thing. You want somebody who's going to help you and hold your hand through the process. I've got some last words on RTB, brand safety with RTB. Essentially what it boils down to is, the benefits of RTB are tremendous. I mean, a big part of this day is talking about real-time bidding, the benefits, how successful it is. Our industry has grown because we've proven ourselves, proven the results. But there are some risks, and it's important to know when you get involved that yes, things need to be taken care of. You can't just go in blind. You have to find the right brand safety provider with an RTB person, work with an RTB individual, a company who takes your brand safety seriously, customizes a solution for you. And honestly, the rewards of RTB are going to far outweigh any of the small risks that you may find. So thank you very much. I'm going to just take this stuff off because I am very warm. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And we also have our brain trust here from Acuity who can answer any technical questions that you may have as well. So thank you very much. Whew. Hot in there.